60 years a sailmaker learned from my father's hand. Sewed up slips of canvas, double stitching every strand. Worked from dawn to dusk, making 50 cents a day. Now the time of sailing ships is all but gone away, and I wander sometimes down to the workshops just to watch the daylight pass away, wipe away the dust from the bench tops filled with rust. Broken needles left where they lay. Watch the big fleets come and go, schooners anchored in the bay. Glide without a sound but for the slapping of the waves. I've watched them ships go proudly out, I've seen the men obey. Now the time of sailing ships is all but gone away. Now the time of sailing ships is all but gone away. Now the time of sailmakers is all but gone away.
Thank you, Danny. Welcome, everyone, once again to the Alumni Special. I'm Dilly MacFarlane, the Alumni Officer here at Mount St. Vincent, and I'm very happy to welcome today an alumnus of the Mount, my good friend Danny McKinnon. Hi, Danny.
Good day.
Welcome.
Nice to be here.
Just by way of some general information about you and what you're doing here, I thought I'd just ask you to tell the folks a few things about yourself. When did you graduate from the Mount?
I graduated in 1985.
Yes.
I was valedictorian, one of the two valedictorians that year.
The very first male valedictorian.
Very first male valedictorian, and I might have been the first person to graduate in a kilt as well.
So. I think you were. You're still the only one, as far as I know.
The only one.
You were actively involved as a student in a couple of student societies, too.
Yes, very active in the English Society, which was very enjoyable. A lot of interesting banquets and a lot of activities. Mildly active in the History Society. Even though I was a history major, I participated more in the English Society, and also involved in the Mount Playhouse the first 2 years of that run.
You were part of the Godspell production of 1982 as well.
Yes, I was.
Playing
yes.
Judas.
Yeah,
Yes.
which was a very interesting role.
Yeah.
I hope it's not a sign of things to come. But
Danny, you're still actively involved in music and in theater. Tell us what you've been doing as far as your theater work is concerned since the days of Godspell in the Mount Playhouse.
Well, after the second summer of the Mount Playhouse, I had auditioned for something called the Governor's Feast, which is run over in Charlottetown, PEI.
Oh yes.
And it's a dinner theater where you walk in the doors and you're projected back in time to 1842. And it's been running now. Last season was the 8th season for it, and I was involved from in 84, 85, and 86. And actually, I was musical director last year as well.
Well, that's great.
So,
that's
yes.
great. Now, you're still performing while you're the musical director. You were still doing some of the performing.
Still doing the performing. Every year, the script is written around the characters. The directors see the strengths of the people who come in, and they write usually the script around their strengths. And a lot of it is improvisation because you're interacting with the audience. There is a small script apart, but you're also serving meals and drinks as well. So it's a whole evening for about 3.5 hours.
Marvelous. Now, do you get to perform any of your own music? That, incidentally, was one of Danny's own tunes that we heard to introduce the show. Did you have a chance to do any of your own work?
Not at the moment. It's mostly traditional. We try and stick to the traditional music of the period. Mostly Irish, Scottish tunes, since at that point there's a large influx of Irish and Scottish immigrants into PEI. But hopefully I might be able to talk them into letting me write a song for the ending, which I'm hoping, as I said, I'm hoping to do that. A lot of times we've been usually using traditional songs like The Parting Glass, Tommy Makem Lee and Clancy do, which is very nice, and also one called Dark Island, which is a very beautiful song.
Yes, I've heard Clancy brothers do that, I think.
Yes.
That's a beautiful, beautiful song.
Yeah.
Danny, what are you doing? You're taking voice lessons still, are you?
Taking voice lessons. I started last year in January, and I went for about 3 months. And this year I just started in October, and if the Kiwanis Music Festival get my money on time, I'll be performing in that or competing in the Kiwanis Music Festival.
In the Kiwanis Festival, that's
Yes,
great.
yeah, in 4 different categories. So.
Fantastic. Now, what about your are you still fiddling around, or?
As much as possible.
But playing the fiddle.
Playing the fiddle. Yes, I took lessons last year from a very talented woman, Beth, and I can't remember her last name. If she's watching, I'm sorry. But she plays in Vox violins.
Oh, I know Beth well.
And
She is marvelous.
She's very talented.
She plays sort of a jazz fiddle, almost in a new wave style. That's kind of interesting.
Yes, yeah, but she plays the classical and she plays traditional, which I was mostly sticking towards traditional, but she started to get me interested a little bit in the jazz. So hopefully I'll be able to take up those lessons again, but I'm still practicing on my own as well.
Well, that's great.
So.
Now, I understand that you frequent the Cafe Prague occasionally.
Occasionally, yes.
Tell us about the Cafe Prague. Where is it and what happens
It's down in the brewery in, the brewery down around Hall Street. I hate to say Hall Street, but but it's a very nice location. It's very intimate, very quiet, and when people are performing, people are usually very, they listen, which is great for musicians and people who perform, because when you play in a club that people are talking all the time or conversing, it's nice, but you put out so much and you don't get any feedback back from the audience, and it makes it very tiring, very almost destructive work.
Yeah,
but
and you don't require microphones or a PA system if you have the cooperation of the audience.
No, you don't require anything
That's
at
marvelous.
all. Yeah, and you can go in, you can have a cup of coffee, a salad, or a dessert, or if you'd like to relax and have a beer or something, that is also available.
That's great. I understand that a lot of the Harbour Folk Society people are also regulars at the Cafe Prague.
Yes, quite a bit. I think the majority of the people who were there last time were Harbour folk.
Well, did you know that the Alumni Association, the Mount Alumni Association, had sponsored for the last 2 years the regular monthly meetings of the Harbour Folk Society?
I had performed several times
that's
at
right.
that, which was very enjoyable.
So that's nice. So in addition to your performing at Cafe Prague, I understand that you've taken on a bit of a new career with your writing, comedy writing.
Yes, I don't do a lot of the writing. I usually write the songs, the comedy songs for the show. But it's called the Seal Club. The group is the Seal Club. And the show is called No Time for Humor. And we have even a third thing. We perform at this fictional place called the Afterlife Bar and Grill, where anybody who's dead, brain dead, or fictional can show up. And we have very interesting conversations with Oedipus and Freud, and Attila the Pun, people who never made it in history and things like that. So we have quite an enjoyable time. We also poke fun at a lot of politicians and.
Fair game, always fair game.
CBC doesn't think so, though. They think we're a bit malicious, but they've listened to a few of our tapes and like the material, but they say it's just a bit too hard. If we could tone it down, then they might take us seriously and maybe even take some of our material.
Where can people see the Seal Club? Where is the Seal Club a place? Or
actually, it's
it's all very nebulous, Dan.
It is. We perform we tape on CKDU radio.
Oh yes.
And
okay.
we're on the radio every 2:30 every Sunday. It's 97.5 FM, and we have in the last little while done about 2 or 3 benefits. The last one we did was at the office for Easter seals. And we helped Century 21 raise enough money to buy, I think, 2 wheelchairs for the Easter seals.
Marvelous.
So most of our gigs have been benefits, but it's still enjoyable. We're working with audiences, which is nice. But we're predominantly a radio show at the moment.
Well, on top of all this other activity, I understand that last spring you decided to enroll in the BED program here at the Mount.
Yes.
How's that coming along?
It's coming along fairly well.
What's it like to be back again as a student after having a year off?
It's not too bad.
Of course, that's not strange for you, is it? Because you've done that before.
Yes, I took about 4 or 5 years off before I came to the Mount, and did my BA, and took another year off and tried to find work, which isn't easy at this time.
No, I know.
Anywhere.
It's rough.
And I decided to come back and do my education because I feel very confident about it myself. Performing is, in a sense, much like being a teacher. You have to know, you have to be ready all the time with whatever you're going to say to the students, and you have to be knowledgeable in your field. And I've got a lot to draw on with music, drama, phys ed that I had taken at Teachers College in Truro, and a history degree as well. So.
Yeah, you did very well with your history. You graduated with distinction, didn't you?
I was close. I did graduate. I was on the dean's list though.
That's good.
With the history, so.
That's great. I was thinking of back to your freshman year at the Mount, and all the doubts and real concerns that you had. A lot of, I think, trepidation about whether you could actually do it or not. I think it's wonderful. You've progressed really well, Danny, and I think we can be really proud of what you've done.
Oh, thank you.
And I understand you're working hard now as manager of the corner store for the Student Union.
Yes, I am.
What's that like, the wonderful world of the entrepreneur? Tell us all about it. How's it going?
It's not bad if the entrepreneur was making money.
Yeah.
But apparently, from what I can gather, the prices in the store hadn't been raised for possibly a year or more. And as it was, we were losing money.
Yeah.
So I've taken it, through council, and they've given me the okay to raise prices and keep them up according to costs. So although the students might not like it, it's still cheaper than almost any place you'll go in town. And if we lose money, student council loses money.
Yeah.
And that's what it all boils down to. So we can't afford to
Yeah,
have
they're operating under some real restraints this year too. I think their budget is very limited.
Their budget is very limited.
Yeah. I know that the corner store provides a wonderful service, particularly for resident students, but I know that everybody on campus benefits from the operation of that store, the staff, the faculty, everybody, and visiting people as well.
Yes.
So when does it open? How long is it open every day?
Right now, Monday to Friday, it's open 8:30 in the morning till 12 at night.
Oh my.
Which is quite a time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work for some of the students, but they're still coping with it well, and I appreciate their work. And on Saturdays and Sundays we're open from 11 till 3 and 8 till 10. So it's there when people need it, hopefully anyway.
How many staff work for you?
I've got about 11 people, maybe not counting myself, right now working at the store.
Oh, that's great.
So,
That's great.
Yeah.
Danny, what are you going to do after you're going out practice teaching next week?
I go practice teaching next week, yes, grade 5s and 6, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's great. You know, my son is in grade 5.
Oh, is he?
Neil, yeah. So that sort of gives you an idea of the age of kids that you'll be.
Am I that old now?
Yes, yes, that's the bad news. I'm sure they're going to enjoy having you walk in the class. Hi, I'm Mr. McKinnon.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Well, I was out already. I played 2 songs.
Oh,
And two Eric Bogle tunes, and they were doing a section on War and Peace, not the novel.
no, but the concept.
Yes, yeah.
Right. Which school?
Brookhouse Elementary School in Dartmouth.
Oh, that's very near where you live, isn't it?
It's a little ways away, but
Yeah.
it's not too far by bus.
Oh,
so,
that's good. That's
yeah.
good. So you'll be practice teaching next week.
Yes, for
and
3
then,
weeks.
then do you have exams to write?
No, I'm all through.
Oh, that's
so,
good. Yeah.
Thank goodness everything's clear, and my mind can work towards the teaching and preparing for that.
Danny, what are you going to do next summer? You thinking of going back to Charlottetown for the Governor's Feast, or what do you have in mind?
I'd like to go back to Charlottetown. The only thing is the bar and restaurant where we had the Governor's Feast burnt down about 4 days ago.
Oh my.
Somebody torched it, I guess. Somebody
dear.
had said it. But from what I understand, they're thinking of rebuilding. It would be a big loss to them in revenue, as well as people would be going over looking for that, not having it, and possibly the next year, if they decide to try it again, it would take so much more to build it back up.
Well,
So,
that leaves you with some possibilities for next summer.
yes,
Right.
quite a few are open right now. I've been talking to one of the fellows who writes with me in the SEAL Club, and we were considering going to Europe, mostly to England, Britain. We both have a real affinity for King Arthur, and we'd like to traipse around, I guess.
Check
some
it
of
all
the,
out.
Some of the back roads, yes. in
You
Wales
must
and
go
Britain.
to the ruins of the Glastonbury Cathedral, because that's supposedly where King Arthur and Guinevere are buried. I was there a couple of years ago. It's a fascinating place. Danny, I'm afraid we've got to say goodbye to you. Would you consider playing us out a little tune, giving us a little tune to say goodbye to the folks with?
Oh, I'll try.
So before we do that, I want to thank you very much for taking time off from the corner store to come over to the studio and
well, thank you.
give us a few tunes and tell us about what you've been doing.
I appreciate it.
Hope you'll come back again.
Yes, I certainly will.
Good.
Yeah.
Tell us what you're going to play for us.
This is a Connie Caldor tune. A woman from Alberta wrote this. And she wrote a song not too long ago called Taking Back the Night, referring to the women's marches. I'm not sure what the date is, but one night a year where they march down the streets of major cities, and they try and basically take back the night because it's not safe. But this is not that song because I don't know it, but this is called Bird on a Wing. And you might want to fade me out, it could be long as well. So I'll try and...
Strike her up. Sounds great.
If you buy her a dream,
She'll follow you anywhere to any old truck stop that this world might bring. She's a heart held down in this little town, and she's looking to find a bird on the wing, bird on the wing, bird on the wing. She knows in her heart she's destined to fly. Bird on the wing, bird on the wing, she's waiting for you to fly by. So she stacks up the cups, counts out her few tips, but she's humming a tune that a drifter might sing. And she gets to thinking she's tired of waiting, that maybe she'll be her own bird on the wing, bird on the wing, bird on the wing. She knows in her heart she's destined to fly. Bird on the wing, bird on the wing, she's waiting for you to fly by. She's like a bird on the wing, bird on the wing. She knows in her heart she's destined to fly.